Hi, my name is Andrew. I'm a senior at Basis Peoria, and I'm a 2026 Coca-Cola Scholar. So actually, a funny story, I came to know the scholarship through a past scholar on TikTok, and I saw that they had posted about the opportunities and the networking chances that they had through the Coca-Cola Scholar Network. So that's what initially made me apply. For me, I think that it's kind of a recognition of the leadership and community service that I've done throughout all 4 years of high school. I've been very involved in my community, and I think that's kind of a testimony to the amount of impact that I've been able to do, but also the hard work, and it kind of shows that hard work would pay off at the end. I think that in Arizona specifically, I think that there's not a lot of healthcare related organizations that have large impacts. So one thing that I was able to do most was through my work at WestMech. I think that I was able to actually reach a larger proportion of Arizona high school students. And that kind of set my application apart because I feel like, again, when you're looking at medicine related extracurriculars in Arizona, it's very limited compared to other states. And I think that that kind of network that I had and that kind of professional development that I had set my application apart. Yeah, so the Basis Peoria academics is very rigorous. I think that it prepares you ahead of time by giving you advanced coursework through AP classes, but also preparing you for standardized tests ahead of time. And I think that that kind of environment kind of set the standards for what the baseline academics would be required for Coca-Cola, because when you submitted your semifinalist application, you're required to provide tests like your ACT, SAT, but also they asked for any college level courses, as well as any AP courses that you took. So I think that kind of boosted me up in the application pool, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I'd actually thank Miss Ainsley, and the reason why I'd thank Miss Ainsley is because every single day, Miss Ainsley, throughout the process, Miss Ainsley would ask me about my Coca-Cola process. So when I was a regional finalist and actually interviewing, she would ask me every day, and then she would also be really supportive, and she would ask me to wear my red shirt. And I was like, yeah, if I get it, I'll wear it. And then in the end, I actually did get to wear it. But I think that Miss Ainsley was kind of a mentor in that sense, but she also was able to provide me a lot of key details throughout the whole college application process. And she also was able to actually edit and review my application and my essays. I think that was a big help and kind of a big support in the process. So I took 21 APs. I didn't take all of them inside of school. I took some of them outside of school. But I think that the amount of work that teachers try to put onto students kind of shapes a sort of work ethic that students are required to develop over time and over the 4 years in high school. So for me, especially, I was able to take the materials that I learned inside of the classroom and study those materials on my own. And I kind of learned my own study preferences. And that's something that kind of prepares me not only for applying for scholarships, but also preparing me for college. Because in college, I'll be able to use the fundamentals that I learned now with the rigorous AP schedules and use that into college and probably have an easier college experience. The biggest things that Basis Peoria offers is a tight-knit community. And I think that tight-knit community is kind of beneficial in the sense that you're able to connect with your peers on a one-on-one basis. Whereas if you were to go to another public school with hundreds of students in the graduating class, I think that'll be a little bit more challenging to actually build meaningful connections with your friends and peers. And I think that on that level, it made it a little bit easier for me to outreach, but also to connect with these people. And I think that the number one thing that I've learned that is important is active listening, and I was able to actually learn active listening through going to Basis and through having that small community. So I'd like to say probably the biggest thing was HOSA. HOSA strengthens the application for high school students by providing them with healthcare networks in Arizona. So for me specifically, I was able to get internships at TGen, Yale School of Medicine, and Mayo Clinic, all through HOSA, because I was able to actually connect with mentors and connect with professionals at that level. And then I was also able to connect with peers at that level as well. So at my medical assisting chapter, one of the biggest things that we do is a team of physicians for students. And we're providing free sports physicals to hundreds of thousands of students in Arizona. So just this last year, we provided over 1,800 free sports physicals. And this year, we're planning on doing more than 2,000. So I think that number alone kind of shows how HOSA works to not only benefit the student who's a part of HOSA, but benefiting the local community as well. One thing that I really like about Basis, again, is the kind of small-knit community, and that allows for kind of the free exchange of ideas. People who are friends are not afraid to kind of share what they're applying to and what they have, so they kind of share opportunities with other students. I think that's kind of a beneficial aspect of the Basis community, because I feel like students are more willing to know about opportunities that they might not have otherwise known of if they hadn't had these friends or hadn't had these communities to help them and support them. So I'd like to emphasize that I think that throughout all 4 years of high school, I've had supportive teachers throughout the way. And those supportive teachers allowed me to kind of be open about where I was at with academics. And they encouraged students to come to those teachers rather than the student having to struggle with the coursework themselves. And I think that's a key aspect of what college is looking for, because in college, you're kind of left to fend for yourself. So instead of having to go alone through that process, it kind of encourages you to reach out to your professor or reach out to your mentor and ask for help throughout the way. And I think that was probably the biggest thing that Basis had to offer for me. I think the biggest thing that I would advise is, even if you think that it might not be attainable or possible, I would still recommend that you apply. I think that a lot of the stuff that I've applied to, I was surprised by the results that I got. So I really encourage just putting your fish in different buckets, because you'll never know what you'll get, and you'll never know what these colleges or what these scholarships are really looking for, and you could truly be the person who they deem valuable or deem worthy of the award. So yeah.
Thank you so much.